Another day, another failure. Maybe I should write a bloody biography of my failures. I didn't get the blade, despite this incessant voice telling me I was on the right path. Be proud, Roshik. What do I have to be proud of? Plundering, pillaging and killing vermin in old houses. Is that what my bloody legacy will be restricted to? Bosrog was another of my failures. He was a funny one. Brutal, merciless, and a damn genius at playing the drums. He would plunder, he would rape and kill without a second thought. He wasn't a failure, like me. And yet, he had to die. And I couldn't keep my word. So why am I in this place? If not for that cur down there on the beach, we would not be here. There would be no voices, there would be no damn count, and no stupid blade. He will pay. But not until I get answers. This is Red Moon role-playing.
The wind picks up a little as you look over the lake and the people now standing nearby Roshek. 9 men are standing around one man on his knees. Most of these men you recognize as Vistani. You are familiar now with their long black beards and colourful bits of clothing, the only real colour you keep seeing in these lands. They are equipped with leather armour and swords. One of them is holding a sword to this man's throat. This man you see kneeling on the ground, looking terrified. You care little for that though, Roshek, and more for one of the figures you recognise immediately. His beard is very uniquely forked, and you recognise his face. The one who brought you here. You also notice, standing a little way from the group, someone with a bow and a hooded cloak. You can't see his features from here, but he seems to be keeping an eye out. What do you do?
Well, as I see this person, I freeze up a bit. And I say, you. And one of my hands wants to go to my sword. And that's where it goes. I put my hand on my sword hilt.
Roman, you notice Roshek stop and look to his left. You would now also notice the sight he has seen. What do you do?
Recognizing the people there, the man that brought us here, and seeing his action, seeing him put his hand on his sword, I look to Roshek. Is that who I think it is?
That's him, all right. That's the bastard that brought us here without a purpose and just this stupid laugh.
Yes, but there must surely have been some purpose. That doesn't look like a particularly inviting situation, though. There's a lot of them down there, and, well, I don't know if he would take us out of here, even if we forced him, or what do you think?
No, I seriously doubt that. I'm not sure he can even, who knows. They seem to enter at their own will. Maybe they were just able to pull people in. But, I do have questions for him.
Yes, that's right. That's right, me as well. But, well, we have other things calling for us. We need to not just do this for ourselves. I think we need to bring the light back to this land, and to do that, we need this blade, and we know what we need to get to it, and the answers are not by this lake. It is not with this Vistani. I do not believe that. We should continue traveling, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. But maybe I could just talk to him quickly and... I want to know why he brought us here.
At this point, Van Richten has caught up to you, driving the wagon, and Esmeralda has also come across you both. He frowns a little as he looks at the pair of you. What's going on? Why have you stopped? Come, we need to make way to Valakai as soon as we can.
I point towards the gathering and then at the man that I recognized. You see that man over there, that Vistani? That was the one that brought us here from the stars, the one that pulled us into this land.
Is that so? Unfortunate. He frowns a little as he looks over at the group and watches for a moment.
Is it someone you recognize?
No, all Vistani mostly look the same to me anyway. I care not for their faces when I kill them. Although I don't feel we have time to kill this many yet. No, they are distracted. This would be a good moment to move past them. Unless, of course, you wish to ambush all of them now, I'll be quite happy to do that. Esmeralda at this point comes over and looks a bit like, Van Richten, I don't feel we have time for such things. Maybe it's best we just avoid them. They have not noticed us. They seem distracted.
I look at him and I shoot him a wandering glance. I am utterly surprised that his first reaction would be that we would kill the whole group, and he said he's been killing Vistani. Where would that come from? I didn't realize he was such a fierce enemy of that group. No, I merely had questions for him, but what he's talking about sounds strange.
As you're thinking this, you notice whatever's happening is continuing to happen as you converse. There's some discussion going on. One of the men beats the man on the ground a few times with the hilt of the blade. The man you recognize seems to be questioning him. Again, beating him around the face a few times. There's some pointing for a moment. The man on the floor points to the lake. His expression is one of misery, but at the same time, emotionless, much like you've seen many times before. The man on the ground, that is. What do you do?
How do they look, this group? Do they look tough?
You take a moment to assess the situation. They are currently all surrounding this man on the ground, so they probably wouldn't see you coming if you moved quickly. Although, of course, if you moved slowly or made your presence known, they'd be aware immediately. They have basic weaponry and basic armor, by the looks of it. You certainly feel in your group if you were to go in on the attack straight off, you'd have a good chance. But they definitely get some counterattacks going on.
But then again, I don't see a reason to just start, attacking and killing wildly. I don't see the point. I also made a promise to the old lady about, not killing those defenseless. Obviously, these are not defenseless, they're all armed, but it was like, what I want to know is answers, why he brought us here, and I've not seen him since. It might not be that we ever get to see him again.
Indeed. Esmeralda and Rudolph are continuing to speak as neither of you are saying it. Maybe we can just avoid them, Rudolph. I don't see why you need to kill these ones. Esmeralda, as always, you are weak and naive. You are aware that in these lands, most of them serve him. They are nothing but trouble, and if they see us, if we keep standing here, then they will alert him to our presence if they haven't already. He looks to you, Roshek. What are we doing? Either we leave immediately and continue on our way, or we attack now.
You say they're servants of him? Well, that's good enough reason for me. I want answers from this bastard. And spare him and let's get rid of the rest.
Van Richten frowns a little, and then nods. Very well, I suppose. Better now than never. Come, Esmeralda, let us get ready. And he gets off the horse and goes to the back of the wagon, getting ready to open it. He then looks to you and goes, what is your plan of attack?
We need someone to sneak up and take out that archer, the hooded one. Can you do that, Esmeralda?
Esmeralda frowns a little and nods. Very well.
And then the rest of us, we try to attack. It would be better to start taking them down one by one so we get rid of them. We'll try to focus our attack without exposing Esmeralda too much. Maybe from the same flank or where the archer is currently not watching, and I take a look.
Roman, what are you doing?
I'm hearing this and, well, the man down there does seem to be in trouble. There's a lot of them and only him there, and helping the defenseless is something that Lathander would support, and, well, this man did. At the end of the day, bring us here. He tricked us here. He has committed a crime against us, and it must not be allowed to stand. I believe Lathander would be supportive of preemptive attack in this particular instance. Yes, let us make this land safer. Let us take care of them. If they are his servants, this will be a better place without them.
So, are you planning to bring in Mishka as well? Is that what you're doing?
Of course. She is trained for this very purpose.
Alright. Make sure that she keeps Esmeralda safe as the rest of us flanks the rest of the group, I would say.
Indeed. So, once again, what is your attack plan? Esmeralda goes and tries to take out that guard, and then what do you do with Roman?
Let's go for the weaker ones first. And I try to figure out one who is sort of easily accessed, depending on how they're looking and what way they're faced.
Yes, I will remain behind you and Van Richten. I will call forth my mace, and I will keep you to, a good level of health and cast spells from behind.
The archer is making some rounds. He goes about the place, his hooded cloak up. One of the individual men is standing a little way, vaguely keeping an eye on the road, but he hasn't noticed you yet. And then 6 of them are around the man you know, currently engaging with this individual on the ground.
Right. Let's go straight for I would say straight and go into the main group. Either that, so we take down the solitary watchman first.
Esmeralda smiles at you and nods. I understand my mission. I do not know if this is necessary, but perhaps Van Richten is right. If we can rob him of even some of his minions, it is a good idea. And she holds a hand out and says some words and vanishes from view. You can no longer see her.
We're going then.
Yes. I whisper a few words to Lathander and make the moves, and I take out a little bit of holy water, sprinkling it over the two of you. Lathander, bless us. I cast Bless.
You feel your spell of blessing cover the party, giving you hope and inspiration during this time of need. And now, Roshek, you feel the moment has come. Esmeralda clearly is going and fulfilling her mission. You should act now, lest the element of surprise be lost. What do you do?
I pull out my sword and I start moving up towards the guard, keeping an eye on the road. Because we've got the archer and him as the most solitary targets. If we get those first, well, I think we'll have a better position.
Indeed, and as you say that, you look to your right and notice suddenly the archer has vanished.
I give a smile and I stop moving.
Excellent. Approaching that other guy who's by himself. You are approaching. Do you do it stealthily?
As stealthily as I can. I try to get the upper hand.
Very well. Roll me a stealth check.
17.
Roshek, you begin moving forward as quickly as you can. If he was looking, your approach wouldn't be that stealthy, but it's more the fact that you're moving quietly and quickly. That means he hasn't quite turned, and you finally find yourself facing him just as he's about to turn to face you. What do?
I strike at him.
Excellent. Roll me an attack. With advantage.
Well, I get 25.
Roll damage.
Right. I still haven't equipped my shield, so I'm using my sword with both hands. I roll an 8.
Very good. Your blade goes straight through this man's neck as he turns, surprised to even see you. Before he can even gurgle alarm, you have slain him and his body slumps to the ground. However, you feel you now have only mere seconds before you are now noticed. What do you do with the rest of your action if you have anything left to do?
Yeah, moved and attacked, so that's all I can do, I think.
Very well. Roman, you'll go next. This is still a round of surprise. What do? You see that guard fall instantly dead, but there are still now 6 men, and the one you recognise now surrounding this individual. You've still not been noticed, but you imagine you have only mere moments until you are definitely noticed.
Then I close my eyes, I whisper the words to Lathander, and I cast spiritual weapon. I call forth my mace, and I command it to immediately attack the closest enemy.
Make an attack.
Yes. Natural 20.
That is a critical hit. You summon forth your spectral weapon, and it flies forward and immediately embeds itself straight into the head of one of the nearest guards. His head is demolished, blood splaying everywhere, surprise coming across all his fellows. You look behind you and notice Rudolph and Mishka charging down behind you. Mishka seems furious as she looks upon these foes. She roars loudly, startling everyone nearby. And now, combat truly begins. Everyone roll initiative.
17.
16.
Roshek, it is your turn as the remaining 5 men turn to you, drawing their weapons. One of them screams out, "Intruders! Ready your weapons!" And the one you recognize looks at you and smiles for a moment, going, "Unexpected."
I rage and I leap forward to attack the nearest one.
Roll attack.
And I shout out, "Death to the servants of the devil." I roll a 22.
Roll damage.
15.
Your blade cleaves through this man, severing his arm. He screams in pain before falling to the ground, dying immediately from blood loss. What do you do next?
I feel a surge of battle and I move on to the next foe, trying to find another opening.
Roll your attack.
6 plus 9, 15.
Roll damage.
14.
And again you drive your blade straight through the next foe's gut. You've clearly taken these men off guard. Their weapons are too slow to react to you, and they are not ready for your onslaught. Another foe falls before you. Roman, it is your turn. Roshek is doing extremely well wading into battle, but obviously there are still a few foes remaining. What do?
I identify a foe that is yet to be engaged, and I whisper, "There will be no dawn for you," and I cast Guiding Bolt, and I get 16.
Roll damage.
Damage is 14.
Yes, your guiding bolt flies forward, straight into this man's face. You hear him cry in pain as his features are burned straight off. He twitches in a sort of spasm before falling dead. These men are falling to your assault, Roman. They are, after all, just men for once. You seem to be fighting foes that die when you stab them. It's, I suppose, reassuring.
Yes, and at the same time, so very, very sad. Well, it is what it is now, and my mace attacks whoever's remaining if there's any normal guards around still.
There are 2.
Yes. And this one is perhaps lucky. Let us see. 14.
Roll damage.
5.
Your mace swings wide, wounding another man, although this one at least is able to dodge a little, you notice. He's seen so many of his men fall, he is now battle ready, and he is not fall to this attack, but he is wounded. Now, you notice the 2 men gather around the bearded man. They look alarmed, they look panicked, and they frown to themselves. He just smiles a little and remarks, "Well, how expected of killers like yourselves. Quick, we must away, friends, we must away!" And he sort of boots the man on the ground towards you, Roshek, trying to get him in your way. This man sort of just mumbles a little and flounders, trying to grasp onto you, Roshek, mumbling, "Save me, save me!" And the bearded man simply begins to run. Quite a distance, actually, running away from the battle and heading towards an area you noticed where horses were lined up ready to leave. And during this period of time, he manages to get onto one and begin getting it ready to move away. The other 2 men do the same. They are all retreating as fast as they can to get to their horses. However, you notice one of them look on in horror as a sword appears through his neck. Esmeralda has appeared. Once again, her stealth attack successful, slaying one. And you notice a tiger pounce on another and instantly kill him, tearing at his throat, his blood spilling everywhere. It seems as if Rudolph anticipated this movement to the horses, and he moved towards that area and is now attacking them. Roshek, it is your turn.
I can't let him get away. All this is for nothing. I try to run after him and to get in an attack. I want to try and intimidate him with a strike that will hold him here.
Unfortunately, he's too far away to get an attack. He spent his whole turn dashing to get to those horses. You can catch up to him, but that is all you'll be able to do. Perhaps getting towards his horse and trying to stop it.
Alright. So, I grunt at this man trying to clasp onto me, and I kick him away, delayed by what happened there, and I try to get to my own horse. I think that would be a wiser call, perhaps, to pursue him if he's gonna mount up on horseback.
Very well, you get to your horse and mount upon it. Roman, it is your turn. What do? You notice the fight seems over, really. Around you are dead men. The final individual is on his horse, getting ready to leave. Very nearby, Esmeralda, Rudolph and his tiger, and Roshek has gone to his horse. What do?
I dispatch my weapon towards this man who's trying to run away. That is the bonus action, and then I go to this man who was pushed towards us, this man who was almost killed here. I try to calm him down, and I try to, perhaps look if he is wounded.
The man is definitely wounded. He has been beaten around the face several times. He looks at you, his eyes hollow and blank. He simply nods and goes, "You saved Bluto's life. Thank you. Thank you."
Lathander was with you today, and yes, your life has been spared. Let me have a look at your wounds, make sure that you are all right. I do a medicine check to see if he is hurt in any kind of serious way, or if this is just superficial damage.
You do not need to roll. It is mainly superficial damage. He has been beaten around the face a few times with a sword, but otherwise seems fine. You're sure a simple rest or even a healing spell would fully heal this individual.
Yes. Then I do whatever I can here to make him more comfortable, maybe wash off some of that blood. Yes, my mace is moving as far as it can, but I'm guessing it will only get close to the horse and not further than that. It can move up to 20 feet.
Indeed, it will start approaching, but not quite make it. The individual frowns at the situation around him and spurs his horse on, immediately dashing away, covering on horseback 80 feet. Esmeralda swears a little, and Van Richten shouts to you, Roshek, "You must catch him, or all of this was a waste!"
And I'm already on my way.
Roshek, it is your turn. What do you do?
And I spur my horse on in pursuit of this individual.
Indeed, and you spurt away from the signs of battle, from everyone. You're the only one who was on horseback, ready. A good move. He is ahead of you, and now leaving everyone else behind, but you are not that far behind him. You are managing to almost keep pace, although he's still maybe 10 feet ahead of you.
Is there any possibility I can pull my longbow and fire at his horse?
You certainly can. You'd have to use an action to do this, but you can be moving while you do that.
As I spur my horse on, I tighten my legs around it to make sure and steady my balance. And I reach for my longbow, which is on the side of the saddle. I pull up an arrow, and I aim towards him to try and not hit him, but maybe his horse.
Indeed. We shall fall out of initiative for now, for the only ones in battle are Roshek and this man. He continues to ride ahead of you, Roshek, but you notice he looks behind and slows a little in order to get a crossbow shot on you. He is aiming. He shouts on the wind, "Not content to kill that many of us, half-orc? I will not be such easy prey for you, murderer!" And he fires. You feel a bolt whiz past your ear, missing. He does, however, fire again. And again, he misses wide. This time, he doesn't have enough time to aim properly while riding on horseback, it seems. Roshek, your turn again.
And I do not dignify this man or his purposes with a reply. Instead, I focus my shots and try and get his horse down.
Make an attack.
12.
You're aiming for the horse, did you say?
Yes.
Roll damage.
4.
Your arrow catches the horse in the back. It whines in pain, but it keeps riding on. It has not been that badly wounded by that hit. Although you don't know if it could take many more hits. You have a second attack. Make it.
As the arrow lands on the horse, there is already another arrow on its way up to my bowstring, and I squint and I let go. It is a 10.
That misses, I'm afraid, going past its hoof. What else do you do? I assume you move, your standard movement.
Yes, I try to keep up with him as much as I can, and I mumble encouragingly to my horse.
And the pursuit continues. He is still a little bit ahead, but because you are moving at the same time, he is not gaining any further movement. He swears a little to himself and looks towards you, Roshek, and smiles for a moment. And you see him looking directly towards your eye as he mutters something under his breath, and suddenly you feel a strange stiffening sensation take hold of you. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
15.
You feel this strange sensation come across you, and you feel a moment of panic as you suddenly feel your limbs starting to stiffen. But you grit your teeth. You are too close to your prey to fall to anything, and you just sort of ride it out, and you notice nothing happens. And you notice in front of you the man curse and clutch at his eyes, as suddenly he looks and seems to be distracted by something, and he rides forward again only a little, 30 feet again, It is your turn. He's very distracted now, clutching at his eyes, seeming to be veering a little on the horse.
I feel my muscle tense as this sensation, and I draw a breath of relief as the spell seemed to have not taken its complete effect, and I read another arrow to let go at the horse, even though the individual on it seems to be weakening.
Roll your attack.
And that's 21.
You string your bow and fire once again, this time aiming for the head of the beast. Your aim is impeccable, and your arrow strikes into the brain of this creature, causing it to fall, and the figure on it to fall with the horse. They crash into the roadside.
As I see this, I rear up my horse to stop it, and quickly get off to get up to him, and quickly tries to subdue him.
You will ride on the horse and get off. You are still a little bit away, though. It's still one more move. He's about 10 foot away now. Your next movement, you will reach him, but for now, you are not there just yet. But obviously, his horse is down. He scrambles up to stand from his crash and rubs at his eyes a few more times before blinking and looking at you and noticing your approach. He swears and attempts to fire at you once again with his crossbow bolts. One flies wide again, but one on a 17 does strike into your shoulder, Roshek. It hurts immensely. Take 6 damage. Make me a Constitution saving throw.
Poison. 20.
You feel a burning sensation in your shoulder, but once again, you just take a moment to grit your teeth and tough it out. You feel a burning sensation spread through you, but you are doing your best to ignore it. Take 12 poison damage. Your turn.
I detach the shield from my back, bring up the shield, but not yet my longsword, as I want to interrogate this bastard, but deflect any blows that would come my way. I intend to get up and subdue him with my fists.
Indeed. When you move, you shall be in melee range, so you make your move, and what do?
I attack with my fists.
Roll an attack.
That is a 16. I roar at him, and froth is coming from my mouth as I try to get a grip on him and ask him, why did you pull us here? Why did you take us to this place?
You punch him full on in the face. He already starts to bleed from the wound you've given him. However, to your question, he merely snarls and spits blood back at you. I do not need any reason to bring you here, murderer. You know why you are here. Otherwise, it was just a random chance.
And he takes an additional 5 damage because of the superiority dice that I spent on the attack. I give him a backhand slap across the face with my bracer, and I make another attack.
Roll your attack.
15.
Roll damage.
It's another 6 as I now punch him in the belly. Wrong answer. Why did you bring us here?
He scrambles to collect his own weapon, trying to switch to his sword as you beat him in the face. And that is all he does as he gets ready to attack, shouting, I will not answer your questions, beast! You have killed my men as you've killed so many before. You deserve everything you get.
I use my second wind and draw a deep breath of air to gather myself, recover some of the damage done to me.
Indeed, you do, and you feel the powers of healing taking over. It is your turn once again. What do?
I heal 9 hit points for the count. He doesn't seem willing to answer, so... But how does he look? Does he look like he's How damaged is he?
He's very bruised in the face from your punches, although he's still standing and getting his own weapon ready. He's certainly not as easily beat up as some of those other men. Obviously, this man can held himself up in a fight.
Ah, I figure if he's gonna pull his blade, I won't be doing any good with my fists. I'll be out of his reach, so I reach for mine as well. But my intention is still to subdue him, rather than kill him outright.
Indeed.
But I go for an attack.
Roll your attack.
14.
And you miss as he parries your attack. He now has his weapon ready. He is ready for battle, but you have another attack coming.
Yes, as the blade bounces off his, I step to the side, having my shield up, and I let the blade follow its own arc towards him. But it's a 13.
And again, he parries. He seems to be quite good at that now. Now he's finally got his weapon out. He smiles and remarks, "You will die, you disgraceful creature. I will avenge the deaths of my men." And he begins his assault.
And I use my action surge to get one more attack in, because I am starting to feel threatened now.
Ah, very well. Make that roll.
But that's a natural 1.
Yes, unfortunately, he seems to be on the offensive and you weren't expecting this. His parries are quite skillful. He is a skilled combatant. His attacks then come on in earnest, and one attack bounces off your shield, but the other then suddenly darts underneath your shield and drives itself into your arm. Take 6 damage and roll Constitution save.
19, 25.
And again you feel a burning sensation, but you're doing your best to ignore it. Take 12 poison damage.
Ah! It still burns. I can't waste time here, I feel. I need to get him down now. But I pull up one of my healing potions, trying to counteract some of the poison, and drink it from my belt.
Indeed, you drink the health potion. As you're drinking the health potion, you notice that behind you, more horses are arriving. Van Richten and Esmeralda are coming to support you from behind.
About bloody time, and I sweep down the health potion. So I heal 6 hit points.
It's at least something as you feel that healing come across you. The man frowns a little and backs away as he notices your reinforcements arriving. He looks at you and tilts his head. "I suppose you want me to surrender. I will never surrender. I know that I will die anyway, so I may as well die with my sword in my hand, no?"
And I toss the empty vial aside, and I say, "I did not come here to just kill you. I want to know why you brought us here. Why us? Did he ask for you to find specifically us?"
He smiles. "Of course he did not ask specifically for you. You think you are special in some way? No. The priest was merely the type he likes, and you, it is personal. You know what you did."
So we're brought here to be playthings, is that it?
"Of course. What else?"
I believe him. I believe that what he says is true, that we were merely chosen at random. But I also believe that he bits off more than he could chew, this devil. That's sort of the answer that I wanted. But still, I get a bit curious about that last thing. Do you mean, are you talking about the Vistani?
He smirks a little. "Of course I am."
And why would he care about those?
He would not care. I would care.
You knew them?
Of course I knew them. You didn't think there were only 2 people in that wagon, did you? I saw the whole thing. Saw how you killed my sister.
But you must have seen that. I feel a sting of regret at this. Because I didn't want to kill them. I tried to convince our leader to spare them because they didn't pose a threat to us, and we gotten all the stuff and the loot that we wanted from them. And I say, and you must have seen that it was not by my will that happened.
I saw you attempt to stop it and stand aside when it was inconvenient for you.
And for that, you would bring me here into this eternal realm of darkness?
It is what you deserve. And he looks and sees the reinforcements coming and tries to dart out of your way, darting towards the woods. As he does this, you will be able to get an attack in on him if you wish.
And I see the opening, and I lazily swing around with my sword towards him, trying to catch him as he tries to slip off.
Make your attack.
But it is not full-willed, it is a half-arsed attack, and I roll a 1.
Yes, you almost weren't expecting him to suddenly just bolt, although it seems to make sense, but unfortunately you are unable to stop him, and he does not go to the road this time, but darts straight into the woodland.
I shout to Van Richten, I have what I came for from him. Let Mishka eat him if she wants to.
He nods as he arrives at your position, as does Esmeralda, but you look to your right, and you've already lost sight of him. He's moved straight into the woods, and you can no longer see him from the road. The woods, after all, evening is starting to set in, and the light has become dim. Van Richten gets off his horse and swears a little. Gosh darn it, man. Why didn't you kill him?
I came here for answers. I wanted to know why he brought us here, but he's clearly a powerful servant. We did fight, but I wasn't able to finish it. And I grind my teeth and I sheath my sword again.
And you notice them take a moment to look into the forest. But Van Richten shakes his head. This is all very noble of you. But now he will go and report where we are, if it wasn't already known anyway. I suppose we killed some of them, but I can't help but feel that was a colossal waste of time, half-orc.
I say nothing to this, I just go back and get up on my horse. Let's get Roman and get moving.
Roman, during this time, what did you do? Did you attend to the man a little, or did you try and get on horseback and join in the pursuit, even though you were, by that point, quite far behind?
I was attending to the man, and I was trying to get some answers out of him. What was the reason that he was in that situation? What did they want from him? Clearly he must have known something, or have had some kind of value to this Vistani. There might be something we can learn from that, so this is what I speak to him about.
He is very despondent initially, although as you heal him, he nods a little. You notice, by the way, no gratitude in his face, no hope. He just seems neutral. Again, that expression you've seen so many times. To your questioning, he remarks this. Vistani, they come to hurt Bluto. Bluto do no harm to them. They angry about the children, but Bluto no kill the children. Bluto offer to lake for fish, yes. Soon good fish come.
You offer the children to the lake?
He nods.
Are these children alive when you do that?
Yes, Bluto no kill children. Bluto give to lake. Lake then give good fish. Especially Vistani children. Vistani are lucky, you know. Vistani children are lucky, yes.
But the children, they do not come back, do they? They remain in the lake. You're killing them, Bluto, are you not?
He looks confused, looks to the lake and points. Only one child. She has not come back. Only one child. Second child they catch and follow Bluto, yes. They follow and beat him. Bluto just want good fish.
I see. This is unexpected. I take a step back, and I stand at the ready. He does not seem to wish me any harm, but what he is doing, it is clearly not good. And I wait for my compatriots to return.
And eventually they do. Roshek, Van Richten and Esmeralda, you all return back to the area. The wagon, of course, was kept here. You see Van Richten quickly getting Mishka back into the wagon. And you take a moment to breathe as you notice the many dead currently surrounding the area. The 6 or 7 Vistani men, and that cloaked individual, also dead, lying a bit separate from them. Roshek, you return to find Roman there with this man, the many dead. What do you do?
Well, without thinking much about it, I get off my horse and I start looking them over for valuables. That is, after all, in my nature, almost second nature. And I nod to Roman as I step down and I say, I caught up with him. I gave him a beating, but he snuck off into the forest. And I start looking at the bodies.
I have a feeling we will see him again. Don't worry, you will have your chance to make him pay.
He used poison, the bastard, and I rubbed my limbs. Both his crossbow and his sword was poisoned. And I keep looking over the bodies and I say, I asked him why he brought us here. You was apparently just, well, a plaything for the devil. He likes your kind. Doesn't surprise me, seeing as you would be an adversary if he's an enemy of the Morning Lord, or what they call him. I keep looking around, checking around the bodies as well, if something fallen on the ground, and I continue. And me, it was apparently personal. He had witnessed me do something that, well, I'm not proud of. And now I let him slip away to report to that devil of his. And I nod towards the man now, sitting on the ground. What about him?
This is Bluto. I have found out that he likes to take Vistani children and offer them to the lake in order to get, well, good fishing. It is a slightly complicated situation we find ourselves in here, although I do not think that, well, putting children in a lake is ever something that could be seen as an act of good. He seems harmless enough, though, to us. I wonder what we should do here.
At his first sentence, I just stop and look at him, incredulous.
Roshek, you immediately think back to just the other night when you saw lights out on the lake, possibly from a little boat.
That must have been him, throwing children in the lake for offerings. Huh.
Yes.
He looks at you and just nods. Yes, Vistani children lucky. We need good fish. No fish. People hungry in Valakai. I do good. I am good, Bluto. Bluto does good.
And you're also superstitious, imbecile, I say, and continue rummaging through the stuff on the ground.
You find a collection of mostly useless stuff, although scavenging coin, you maybe find about 30 gold pieces in between all these men. The rest of stuff is weaponry you don't need. Colourful cloth, a few gambling dice here and there, maybe some little trinkets.
Oh yeah, I pick up one of the trinkets, which is a little carved block of wood. It's a sort of looks like a face on it with rays around it. And I think to myself, yeah, this is pretty. And I pocket it. And, alright, and I turn to Roman. So, what do we do with this? Peasant.
Yes. Bluto, you are sure that this is what you're doing? You confess to throwing children in the lake. Have I got that right?
Bluto nods.
What is in the lake? Is there something else living there?
He frowns a little. No, fish. Give lucky Vistani fish children to fish, and then fish come and be good fish. Otherwise, difficult fishing lately.
I just shake my head. And we wasted enough time. Do what you want to. And I get up on my horse.
Yes. I pick Bluto up. I get him up from the ground. And, yes. I ask him, where is it that you're headed? Back to Valakai?
Yes. I suppose go out and fish now.
Ah, yes. Well, you should probably go get the fish. I think I see fish over there. I try to get him to look in another direction from where I am, and as I hope he will do that, I ready my mace, and I intend to strike him at the back of the head.
He will turn quite innocently. He certainly would not expect such a thing to occur. He does indeed turn to his boat and begins to move over to it, completely facing away from you.
Yes, and I smash him at the back of the head. I will not allow him to continue murdering children. That is not something that can stand.
And he falls to his knees and falls to the ground. He did not have the strength to withstand a mace to the back of the head.
My nose crinkles a bit as I hear the wet thud. Looking away from them, getting up on my horse. Not my way of killing, but I don't care.
Indeed. And you stand there, Roman, above the corpse of this killer, surrounded by many other dead, as night begins to fall on the land.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the campaign Curse of Strahd for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Curse of Strahd was designed by Christopher Perkins and based on the adventure Ravenloft, written by Tracy and Laura Hickman in 1983. Dungeons & Dragons is published by Wizards of the Coast. The music is created by Metatron Omega, Flowers for Body Snatchers, and Word Clock, and is used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more tasty dark ambient. A new episode of Red Moon Roleplaying is released every Friday. Please like our Facebook page and give us feedback, comments, and input there. You can also visit us at redmoonroleplaying.com. Finally, a huge thank you to our growing base of supporters. You are truly amazing and inspire us so much to keep going with the show. If you haven't yet found us on Patreon, please have a look at the links in the description and see if you want to show your appreciation and encourage our work with the show there. While the show will always be free of charge to our listeners, Patreon supporters have access to extra material such as our bonus Q&A podcast Ask for the Moon, where we discuss all topics and questions our Patreons have for us. You can even get access to the full-length, raw and unedited versions of our gaming sessions way before they are released as finished episodes. Thank you for listening. Looking forward to meeting again next week.